So you want to learn how to play Atlas, but you don't know how. Lucky for you, I main Atlas as my main support. He is my favorite to play, and I'll be teaching you how to level, how to use his abilities, what his abilities do, and I will be even giving you the most meta build out there right now. Let's talk about Atlas's passive, the Astrolabe. There's a gauge on my screen right now, it's overfilled. When I basic attack when this gauge is filled, well, it trembles for 2 seconds and deals an extra 1.5 times the damage I was going to do with that basic. So how to fill this gauge up, either you take damage or deal damage to enemy gods or minions. You get stacks of energy that way. And now it only needs to be filled to the inner circle for it to really function. But you get an AoE basic and it trembles for 2 seconds. You could overfill it. Doesn't really matter. Atlas is 1. It's this big circle attack. You throw it, it slows your enemies up to 30% for 2 seconds. If you basic attack, it explodes, and it's great for lane clear, and it also will come back. Now you could throw it and then hit 1 again to cancel it if you really want to, but it's a good way to lane clear. Let's talk about Atlas's 2. It's his most annoying ability. The exterior cone sucks enemies towards you. The interior cone sucks enemies up, holds them, and then throws them. It's super annoying because you could pick up enemies, move them, and then throw them into towers, fountains, titans, or your teammates' abilities. You could use this and just hold them and face them towards your allies, and they'll just straight up annihilate the enemy team. It's super annoying to play against, so make sure you buy beads if you're playing against an Atlas. Let's talk about Atlas's 3. You dash forward and slam into enemies. The faster and longer you do this charge for, well, you get bigger slows. These slows could go up to 75%, which is absolutely ridiculous. And the bare minimum, if you just use it and slam into an enemy almost instantly, is 25%. This little circle around you applies to your allies, where you could get an increased speed bonus to your boys. So if you need to get out, you could get out, or if you want to charge the enemy, you can. Let's talk about Atlas's ultimate. It's a laser beam. You could change the direction by whatever you're facing, and then it'll shoot in that direction. You could press 4 before it's fully charged to shoot it, but it does less damage. But it doesn't really do that much damage. A good way to maximize the amount of damage you're going to get out of it is to pick someone up with your 2 as your ultimate's firing and charging up, and then shooting it on them. It also reduces their protection by 5% and their power by 2%. It's a pretty good way to start a fight, especially if you could get the enemies in it to stay in it with like an Odin cage or something. When leveling Atlas, of course, you want to get your 1 first, then your 2, and then your 3. But you want to max out your 1, put any points you can into your ultimate along the way that you can. Next thing you want to max is your 2, and lastly, your 3, your escape. Let's move on to the build portion of the video. Alright guys, I'm going to give you a meta build ahead of the times, and this is going to be very popular, so if you haven't already, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, because I will make sure to give you these meta builds when they come out. Now, Sentinel's Gift is really good. Upgrading this into Sentinel's Embrace is what I like to do. Tainted Steel is great for playing against people who heal. So if you have a Anubis, an Afro on the enemy team, or a Chalk, a Changa, anybody who heals, this is good. War Flag's also good. I'm not too sure about Benevolence, but Benevolence was pretty good, and then it was taken out the game. I'll do more research on that later. Mail of Renewal, Manticore Spike, and Fey Blessed Hoops. Really, these 2 items are the most meta items, but Mail of Renewal is also pretty darn good. But I'm going to start this off with Mail of Renewal, and we'll get into why Manticore Spike and Fey Blessed Hoops are good. If that's the only thing you get out of this, Manticore Spikes and Fey Blessed Hoops are good, I mean, that's all that needed to come out of this video. Now, 250 health, 15 HP 5, and 30 physical protections and magical protections, boys. The passive is really good. So if you get hit by an enemy god, basic attack, ability, anything, you gain a stack of protections. You get 4 protections. Now this stacks up to 5 times, giving you 20 physical and magical protections. Really good. Now at max stats, the next time you get hit, you are immediately healed by 15% of your max HP, which is huge. Now, your allies get healed as well. If they're around you, it does this green, like, pulsating aura. Now, it heals them for 50% of their max HP, but over time, over a 10-second time period. Which isn't too long, but it's really good. The next thing I like to get is Manticore Spike. Manticore Spike is really good, giving you 40 physical protections and magical protections, giving you 350 health and 20 MP5. Now, every time you get hit with a hard crowd control, you drop a spike on the ground. This spike lasts for 7 seconds. When an ally god picks this spike up, they get a buff that causes their next ability to deal 4% of their max HP. Now, that's good. But if you pick up this spike, it lasts for 15 seconds and is doubled the effect. So, you can deal up to 8% of your own max HP if you are a tank that's enormous on an enemy with your next ability. Next item I like to get is Fey Blessed Hoops. Now, it would work better on someone who heals, but Mail of Renewal procs healing. So, I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but Fey Blessed Hoops might also work with Mail of Renewal. If it does, that's huge. If it doesn't, this would work better on a healing character, but it still works. Each time an allied god dies within 70 units of you, or you heal an allied god, it drops a flower. This flower can be picked up by you or your ally. Now, this flower gives you a shield equal to 7.5 of the person picked up the flower, max HP for 8 seconds. Flowers on the ground for 7 seconds, and picking up a new flower refreshes the shield, which is awesome because if you're playing Sylvanas and spam healing, this is huge. I'm going to be using this on all kinds of guardians that heal. Now, this is also good on Atlas because people are going to be dying and you can pick this up. Next, I like getting Emperor's Armor. Emperor's Armor is really good because if you're damaging an enemy tower, structure, anything like a phoenix, it slows its attack speed by 30%. And it increases your attack speed on your tower, phoenix, whatever, by 50%. So if someone's diving you over and over again, Emperor's Armor is awesome. And it's really good also for taking towers or phoenixes or diving them as well. Next thing I like getting is Heartward Amulet, because it gives my allies magical protection. You could also switch this out for Sovereignty if you need Sovereignty. It's in the same tree as Emperor's Armor. Now, Heartward gives you magical protections to your allies and MP5, which isn't that big of a deal, but you can upgrade this bad boy. I like doing Amulet of the Stronghold. Basically, it converts your physical protections into magical protections by conversion rate. But with my build, I get 44 extra magical protections for free for 600 more gold, which is kind of whack. That's kind of wild. Now, other good items, if you want to switch an item out here, you could get Void Stone, which, you know, enemy gods within 55 units have their magical protections reduced by 10%, which is basically just Void Shield, but Void Stone is the magical version of it. Midgardian Mail is great for countering hunters because, or anybody auto-attacked based. Basically, every time you get basic attack, it lowers their movement speed and their attack speed. Very useful for countering people like Ishtar, the new hunter who is completely and totally balanced. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Pestilence, anti-heal. I don't think I need to say more than that. And Spectral Armor is good against people who crit. You take a reduced damage from crits by 40%, which is pretty useful, again, for hunters. But that is the meta build I could come up with off the top of my head, boys. Remember, Manticore Spike and Flay Blessed Hoops are just insane items. Abuse them like crazy before they get hard nerfed. See you guys later.